Hi everyone, this is Simone speaking, and in today's podcast, we'll be talking about the things you can do at home during this circuit breaker. Well, I guess we are all in a very, very weird phase right now, experiencing a pandemic, and everyone has to stop what we are doing, stay at home, jobs are affected, school is affected, and we can't go about with our usual routine. So I just want to take this time to share with you guys some of the things that you can do at home to occupy yourself. First, spring cleaning, right? So you can take this time to pack your wardrobe, pack your clothes, wash your bed sheets, help out your mom with vacuuming the floor, for example. Yeah, so the previous podcast, we've talked about how to organize your clothes and how to match your clothes. So you can watch that you can watch that podcast and learn something from there. The second tip that I'll be sharing is listening to music, right? So I have some music recommendations which I will put them down in the description box below. You can find all the songs on Spotify. You just have to type their name down, right? And it will appear. Yeah, so that's that. And then the third one is learning how to cook or learning how to bake. Personally, for me, that's what I've been doing. I find cooking very therapeutic, being hands-on with coming up with a dish and then enjoying it at the end is quite rewarding. So yeah, we also have some O&M content that will be uploading it online, and one of the ADL contents that we'll be talking about is learning how to cut your own fruits and vegetables. Yeah, so you can watch that and hopefully you'll learn something from there. Other than that, I think we also have a video on learning how to cook your own pasta. That's the third tip. The fourth one is listening to podcasts. Recently I been listening to this girl. Her name is called Molly Burke. She's quite a famous Canadian YouTuber who happens to be blind and uses a guide dog. She has some podcasts, and I find her podcast quite interesting as she talks about her experiences living with a vision impairment and her experiences with using a guide dog at a public, in a public setting. How do public members react to her and react to her dog? Yeah, so that's that. And also I think she also has a lot of YouTube videos that you guys can go and watch. It's quite interesting, quite funny also. And of course, the fifth tip that I'll be sharing is watching stand-up comedy. My personal favorite is Trevor Noah, Trevornoah. So he's super funny guy. Go and watch go and watch his stand-up comedy. It's quite interesting. You can watch his videos on Netflix. It's available on YouTube as well. So that's the fifth tip. The sixth tip is doing some simple exercise at home. You can find any household things and use them as weights. For example, you can use laundry detergent. It's heavy, right? You can use that as a dumbbell, for example, and then hold that and do squats. So that can be one of the ways to keeping yourself fit, at home. The seventh tip, practicing your O&M or ADL skills. Like I mentioned just now, since we are going to be launching some online content, use that to practice your O&M skills or ADL skills. In terms of O&M, what you can do if you really like to revise on your O&M skills, or especially your cane skills, you can go for a short walk, like maybe just outside your house, along the corridor, practicing arcing your cane, holding your cane in the proper way, and that can be a form of exercise as well, right? If you don't want to do that, if you have a pet at home, walk your pet around your house, along the corridor, outside your house. Just be sure to wear a mask, okay? And to do social distancing. right? So if you feel like there's a lot of people, you want to try to avoid crowded places, don't crowd around with everyone else. Yeah. Right, the ninth is staying connected with your friends and your family members. I mean, if you are living alone, it can be quite tough. If you are living with your family members, sometimes when everyone is staying under the same roof, there can be some friction, Yeah, so learning how to socialize with your friends is a way to keep yourself sane. You can do that through conference calls, do that through Zoom calls. You can even get creative. When you're on conference calls, you can even play games, for example, so like for myself, 2 days back I was on a conference call with two of my friends, and what we'll do is we'll just play a game. There's no name for this game, but basically we just choose a category, and then each of us have to name something out of the category. So for example, we mentioned about the category is cosmetic brands. So each of us have to take turns to mention a cosmetic brand, and it has to be a brand that hasn't been mentioned before. And the forfeit is, if we happen to mention a brand that has been mentioned before, we have to take note. And what we talk about is that when this whole virus thing ends, I have to treat them to lunch or dinner, for example. So just get creative and play some games. What else? So the reason why I talk about staying connected is because I think during these times of isolation, it can be quite easy to feel sad and feel disconnected from everyone. In terms of your mental and emotional well-being, it can take a toll on it. So I just want to take this opportunity to emphasize the importance of taking care of your mental health. So if you need to talk to someone, there are licensed therapy available online. You can just go and search online. So stay connected with your friends, stay connected with us, stay close with our updates on our social media. We do post videos every now and then, so stay connected with us. Another thing is, if you feel like suddenly like my whole routine has been changed, it feels very weird, and it's giving you anxiety, you feel very anxious, there's so much uncertainty. For me, what I'll do is I will try to keep a simple routine, like a timetable every day of what to do. It doesn't have to be a very complicated routine, it could be like morning, what do I do, and then at what time, what do I do. In that way, you have a structured routine to adhere to, and it kind of keeps me grounded in some ways. So you can try that as well. So I think that's about it. I've shared all the tips. If you have questions that you would like to ask, comment them down at the description box below. If you have any other new tips that you would like to share, comment them down at the description box below as well. So in the meantime, I think you just do the best that you can to stay happy and to stay sane, to stay healthy. It's tough, but we'll go through it together. And thanks for listening to the podcast, and I'll see you in the next session. All right, goodbye.